Hello my beautiful peeps and welcome to the first Lore and Chill episode of 2023. If you don't know what Lore and Chill is, it's basically after every Souls game, we do a little bit of a deep dive into the lore of the game that we just finished. Today we're going to be doing VaatiVidia's Prepare to Cry Dark Souls Edition. Ideally, I would like to do these live with you guys, and that's actually coming sooner than expected. But without further ado, let's jump into some VaatiVidia Dark Souls Prepare to Cry reaction slash just chilling conversation. I don't know. All right, guys. So we all know what I did to Oscar in the first episode. We're not going to talk about that. Actually, we're probably going to talk about that. Anyways, here we go, man.
Those who are afflicted with the dark sign live forever, locked in a constant state of death and revival.
Nice.
But immortality isn't seen as a blessing here. It's labeled a curse, and with good reason. Death is replaced by a form of insanity, a state where humanity is lost and the being becomes hollow. They no longer have the will to retain their humanity, to maintain their body or their mind. Hollowing is a constant process, but a point of no return is reached, where humanity cannot be restored. We meet Oscar of Astora just before he reaches that point of no return.
Oh, God.
I can feel it coming.
It's so easy to forget Oscar's role, but meeting him is arguably the most important thing that happens to you.
Yep.
Without him, you would still be locked away. He goes to the trouble of finding a key to your cell. But why? Well, there's a reason. Thou who art undead art chosen. In thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. This is a saying passed down through Oscar's family, but it's more than just a saying, it's clearly a prophecy. It says that the undead who escapes the asylum to the land of ancient lords will learn the fate of the undead, something humanity is desperate to know. This prophecy is why Oscar is in the asylum. Because if he can leave the asylum, then perhaps he'll be included in the prophecy.
Right.
And if he's a part of the prophecy, then he may become the one who is supposed to learn the fate of the undead. But he can't be sure that it's him. There are hundreds of other undead locked away in the asylum. So, while he's on the roof, he attempts to let undead out of their cells, hoping to kickstart the prophecy. But there's something else on the roof. The asylum demon guards the prison. Have you ever wondered why you find Oscar dying in a closed cell?
Yeah.
There's only one entrance, and that's a hole in the roof. He was smashed into this room by the asylum demon.
Oh, snap.
You are a godsend to come at this moment. I wish to ask something of you.
Oscar tells you the prophecy and hollows with the knowledge that you might be the fated undead to leave the asylum. And he's right, you are. But what if Oscar had lived? What if you had both left the asylum together?
Please, come quickly. It is your fate. A pleasure to meet you. Sage Frant has spoken to me about
what?
you. I am Oscar of Astora. I wish to thank you for ringing the bell of awakening. I am preparing to leave. I will follow Sage Frant's instructions, and will seek Anor Londo by way of Sen's fortress. May we each fulfill our respective purposes. I hope that we meet again somewhere.
Wait, that's
One day.
possible?
If you believe the prophecy, it means that either yourself or Oscar could be the chosen undead. Both of you meet the requirements. Both of you left the asylum. But as time passes, it becomes more clear that you are the chosen undead, not Oscar. You're the one who rang the bells, and you're the one who meets the prophecy more strongly.
I think that was like a
I cannot
hypothetical.
just stay here. I must find my own purpose.
Every undead chases a purpose to keep themselves from hollowing. For Oscar, it's different. He's searching for a purpose that's worthy of him, and this obsession is what will spell his tragic end.
Well, how long has it been? Glad to see you safe, but be careful. You must be the same as I, in search of the grave of Sir Artorias. This forest is the territory of a fierce band of thieves. They assault any and all who seek the graves. What if we were to join forces? How about that? If we work together, we may escape the bandits. Does that appeal to you?
Yes.
Very well. Let us keep our wits about us.
That would be the dream, man.
Things appear to have settled. I was right to partner with you. I will have a short rest here. Feel free to go on ahead.
While both of you make it through the world, you triumph before Oscar, and succeed where it matters. And finally, you make it to the kiln of the first flame, to either replace a dying god, or to finish him off. Whatever path you choose, Oscar chooses the opposite. Driven by a need to be important, he opposes either choice you make. Whether you finish off the dying god, or leave the first flame to die.
So it was you. I had a feeling. I shall destroy you, as fate has commanded me.
No.
Foolish pawn of Darkstalker Karth. and fiendish Dark Lord.
Perhaps you choose to replace this dying god and
So this
rekindle
must be the
ancient
other
fire.
ending that we could have
I have
done.
waited for thee, foolish slave of the gods, and pawn of Frampt. I will kill you and become the true Dark Lord.
Oh shit. A lot of you guys said I got the bad ending, but I don't know what, I gotta see what the other one was.
Whichever path you choose, Oscar opposes you in his desperation to be included in fate. A search for purpose is all that he has.
Yeah, this makes me feel even worse for killing him as soon as we started the game. He did everything possible to get us out of there. He is the one that gives you your first flask. And he was dying, and he decides to give it to you. Also, I gotta say how excited I am that we're back on Lore and Chill, man. Comments for Oscar. This is literally what I was just talking about. Oscar is low on health, but doesn't drink the Estus. He gives it to you, man. Imagine after beating Gwyn, Oscar steps through the fog gate to take you on, making you the boss in the end. That would be so cool. If only Oscar had not decided to do a no heal run so he could chug his Estus. God damn it, Oscar, you fucked up. Too bad this was cut. I disagree with people saying it would ruin the lost and dark mood. The slow descent of a character that you may call a friend because you are always besting him and taking the prophecy for yourself until the point where he even turns against you after the final boss no matter what you choose. That's truly dark and bitter. And it could have been a better fight than Gwyn if he was just as good as you. The real chosen undead just a little too slow to beat you. He could at least have opposed you in the Dark Lord ending. Also, I guess this was cut? Damn. Why did they abandon this storyline? That would have been a kick-ass final battle. What the? Wait, so this was the original idea? Maybe that's why Gwyn was so easy. Oscar was the real final boss. Well, that would have made the plot clear throughout the whole game. No wonder it wasn't included. That is a fair point, actually. Let's do Solair and the Sun next.
It's not easy to find the sun in Lordran, and when you do see it, who's to say it's real? The age of fire is ending, and the world is already dark. Logan believes that there are no gods, no transcendence, only power. To become a god is simply to find that power. The lords found their powers amongst the first flame and proclaimed themselves to be gods. But as the flame fades, the lords must rely on illusions instead of power, until new fuel for the flame is found. As Gwyn burns in his tomb, Gwendolyn and Frampt search desperately for someone to replace him, to maintain their age of light a little longer. Solair reminds me of the legend of Icarus. Icarus is granted wings and uses them to chase the sun, but he flies too close and falls to his death.
Yikes.
Solair has limitless ambition and strives to obtain the sun as well, but he too runs the risk of flying too close. It's hard to find the sun in Lordran, and the world is already dark. Perhaps Solair is looking for a new light. There is a prophecy that comes from Solair's homeland in Astora, a prophecy that sheds light on Solair's quest.
There is an old saying in my family, "Thou who art undead art chosen. In thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know."
To fulfill the prophecy, you must be two things. You must be undead, and you must escape the asylum. Oscar became undead, and travelled to the asylum to become a part of the prophecy. You carry out his legacy. But Oscar was not the only one trying to become a part of the prophecy. Solair also escaped the asylum.
Oh.
The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. Both undead, both imprisoned in the asylum, and now we both end up here, in a land brimming with hollows. Could that really be mere chance? I hardly think so. I became undead to pursue this.
Solair's quest meant so much that he chose to become undead to fit the prophecy. So if you believe that you are the chosen undead, then you and Solair are on the same path, and your meeting was not chance, but fate. You can choose to believe that everything in your past led you here. But who was Solair before he became undead and met you?
I need to know.
Gwyn,
Tell me.
Lord of Sunlight, had 3 children. One was named Guinevere, who fled her father and Anolondo as the flame continued to fade. Another was Gwyndolin, born of the moon and raised as a daughter. Master of illusion, he maintains power in Anolondo through an illusion of his sister and a fake son. The identity of the third child is a mystery. All we know is that he was a god of war, but his foolishness led to the loss of something invaluable, and he had his god status rescinded. Statues were destroyed, and there are places where it is clear that there have been obvious efforts to remove all trace of him ever existing.
Wait.
But in a land far from Anolondo, near an altar dedicated to sunlight, there is one statue that remains. It's the statue of a woman holding a small child, a child wielding a sunlight straight sword.
What?
The same sword as Solair.
Wait, what? Solair is the third son of Gwyn?
Solair never talks of the past, only of the future, only of finding his son. If he is the son of Gwyn, then he has fallen out of his father's graces. But who is Gwyn to take his powers away?
I forgot to kill that dragon.
Lost his status, and nothing more. Even though his equipment has no special powers, he travels through Lordran with little trouble, reaching Anolondo, Demon's Ruins, and Lost Islith before you. It is said that the god of war still watches over his warriors. Solair crosses between worlds to help you take down your foes.
This is big information here. I never picked up on that.
In the end, it doesn't matter if Solair is the son of Gwyn. To the world, he's simply a friendly man who helps his comrades when they are in need.
Yeah, he's the goat.
He is a man who gave everything he had to find something, despite looking like a fool. But after years of searching, his hope turns to despair. And his despair turns to madness.
So sad, man. This ruined me, man.
Finally, I have found it. I have. My very own son.
I should have just ran the other way and let him live. But he seems to be in pain.
I have. Yes, I did. I did. Oh.
He also does sound like he's having too much fun, wherever he is mentally. Damn. That was a good fight.
My son, it's setting. It's dark. So dark.
Damn.
Solair, a man of indomitable will, loses his mind to a creature that looks like the sun, and dies to your blade. Or does he?
What?
Time in Lordran is convoluted, and one undead may take a different path.
What?
A path that lets Solair persist a little longer.
Wait, he went in the other way?
A path that takes you both to the kiln of the first flame, where Solair can fight for his son.
You can fight Gwyn with Solair? Or is this another hypothetical? No, you can... What? Oh, that would have been so legendary. He probably wouldn't have done shit all, but it would have been cool, man. Yeah, look at him go, man. He's killing it. Wow. Right, so I guess if you went in the other way and killed those little spiders, maybe... Ah, that was probably the door that was... You had to, like, open by giving the spider lady, the daughter of chaos, like, so many humanities or whatever. Maybe that's what that was. So there's an ending where he lives, basically. That's pretty awesome. Also, I take back what I said about the music for this boss, guys. Okay, I was very frustrated, but it is quite fitting. I've learned a little bit of the lore from Gwyn, and it's quite tragic, so it only makes sense that the piano and all that. I'm actually excited to watch this Prepare to Cry, because, yeah. This fight is going so much better than my 30 rounds that I did before I learned to parry him. There it goes. Victorious.
With Gwyn defeated, Solair can light a flame of his own and return sunlight to the world.
Wow.
For the fire within Solair will burn the brightest of all.
That is so epic. Man, Funny Video picks the best music for these videos. Oh my god. Damn, bro, that was so good. Well, major takeaways from that one. For some reason, I never picked up that Solair was like the third son of Gwyn, or could have been, based on like that statue and whatnot. That makes him 10 times cooler. I guess there was an ending where he didn't die, which is pretty awesome. I'm gonna try and do that probably in my second playthrough of the game. Honestly, one of my favorite characters. This only made me like him even more. All right, let's read some comments here for Solair. You talk about me an awful lot. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you have feelings for me. That was definitely one of the most memorable dialogues that we got in the game. I think the true tragedy of Solair was that he was desperately searching for a purpose, but his purpose was right in front of him this entire time, being everyone's son bro when they needed it most. Oh man. Stop. Saving Solair was the best spent 30 humanity ever. Oh, I guess it's only 30? Okay, well, we could have done that shit. Solair was so focused on finding an actual son that he never realized that he had already found his son, the player. Oh. It's so sad that Solair, the man who spent his whole life finding a son, gone mad in the dark, deep shithole where barely one beam of light can seep. Alright, well, damn. These freaking comments, man. For the fire within Solair will burn the brightest of all. This is the greatest line in this video. Praise the sun. Why don't we do Pinwheel? Let's do Pinwheel. I feel like that'll be fun.
The necromancer who stole the power of a
necromancer.
A mother, a child, and a father, all fused into one form.
So
his
gross.
His tale is one of guilt, regret, and a desperate desire to fix his mistakes. Death masks are mementos of the dead, representing the wearer before they passed away. Mask of the Father. This mask, belonging to the valiant father, represents great burden and equipment load. The father made a mistake, and he carries that burden with him. It's literally a constant weight upon him.
Ugh.
Mask of the Child. This mask, belonging to the naive child, represents the limitless energy and stamina of youth. Mask of the Mother. This mask, belonging to the kindly mother, represents the life giver and her vitality. A long time ago, something happened to this family, and they were brought together through necromancy. The father bears the weight of his wife and his child on his back, a family woven together to become Pinwheel. It seems as if, in another time long past, the human mother and child died tragically, and the father was overcome by grief.
Oh god.
Without family, it is said that man is alone in the world. But he was valiant, and in his desperation to be reunited with his family, he took great risk to steal power from a lord of death, Nito. With this power he attempted necromancy, reviving the corpses of his wife and child. But something went wrong. In his desperation to be reunited with his family, his necromancy backfired and the family became whole. A mother, child and father, reunited in a physical, grotesque form.
Oh my god.
Pinwheel. In his current form, Pinwheel resides in a crypt, filled with his tireless efforts at necromancy and revival. The creature is still sane, and continues to devote itself to experimentation and research into necromancy. But why?
That explains the bodies.
Well, the corpses of the mother and child were restored, but at what cost? They live on as an abomination. The only thing Pinwheel has managed to do so far is split itself into various forms, which are dumped and discarded at the entrance to Nito's tomb. Assumedly, Pinwheel is trying to split itself into separate beings, so that the father, the mother, and the child can be properly restored as was originally intended. But nothing works. For some reason, his crypt is open when you meet him. Imagine how shocked he must be to see an intruder after all these years.
Yeah.
Someone who would interfere with his attempt to make things right.
Oh, that's so
Who knows
sad.
how close he was to success. How close he was to fixing his mistake.
And I just killed him in 2 shots. Oh my god. Oh, that was short, but holy crap. That is the saddest boss ever. Oh my god. That is so tragic. Oh, that is so depressing, dude. Man, wow, okay. I mean, there's an ongoing feeling the more I play these games that really just, it makes me feel really bad about my character. I tend to sometimes think that I might actually be the bad guy in these games, and this is a perfect example of that. Just walk into a place and just slaughter a good being, you know, just trying to reunite his family. Sounds about right. That one was really cool. I actually really like that one. This video is longer than the fight. Pinwheel is a distressed mess, hunched over a bunch of books on weird topics in a dark room. Wait a minute, he's a grad student, not a necromancer. Killing Pinwheel almost seems like the right thing to do given his story. Yeah, I agree. Put him out of his misery type of thing. I actually feel like I'm putting Pinwheel out of his misery, right, now that I kill him. Strangely, this video made me feel better about killing someone in Dark Souls. How unusual. You know what? Yeah, that is true. I was kind of talking about how, you know, I kind of feel like the bad guy in these games. I still do. But in this case, you know, that is true. He was kind of suffering, man. Kind of help him out there. You know what? Let's do Nito. I feel like since we're already talking about him, let's check that one out.
In the beginning, there was no life or death, no light or dark. There was, however, the above and the below. Above, where the everlasting dragons ruled, and below, where there were humanoid beings that would one day become humans, giants, and lords. Below, fire was born, and some beings found power within these flames and took it for themselves. Gwyn could be called a Lord of Light, Nito a Lord of Death, and the Witch of Izalith a Lord of Life. These souls were the disparity. They represented black and white, where everything else was grey before. And so they cast away the grey, and started an age of light and dark, life and death. There is one that I haven't mentioned, who came after the other 3 lords. The furtive pygmy found the dark soul within the flames, and fathered humanity. The pygmy was content to wait, splitting and spreading his soul while the other lords changed the world.
The pygmy.
There are dynamics that exist between the souls.
Who's that?
You can't have one without the other. Gwyn's Age of Fire is built around the first flame, which was linked to bonfires and spread throughout the world.
Right.
However, eventually, even this fire began to fade. It was realized that humanity, the little black sprite in every human, could feed the fire. So Gwyn commanded his children to shepherd the humans. Maybe there's a reason the Dark Soul was found after the first 3. Maybe it was the fuel. You already know what happens next. The grey dragons were cast aside, and Gwyn began an age of fire. When the flame started to fade, the Witch of Izalith attempted to create a new flame with her life soul, but it spiraled out of control and demons were created.
That
then
one
out
worked
of
out
nowhere,
pretty well.
a curse appeared, a kind of disease that links humans to the bonfires, causing some to become undying. Instead of death, there is hollowing, and to reverse the hollowing, one has to offer humanity to the flames. Convenient, isn't it? Some even whisper that the curse was designed by the lords, to keep the humanity of the undead linked to the bonfires. The more humanity they donate, the greater the fire grows, and the undead are drawn to the flame, fated to be consumed over and over again until only a hollow husk is left.
Whoa.
For the purpose of shepherding the humans, the Church, the Way of White, was formed, an influential covenant devoted to serving the gods. They condemn the undead as a plague. The cleric knights of Lloyd are praised for their undead hunts, using Lloyd's talismans to prevent the undead from recovering, allowing the knights to kill with impunity.
Cool.
Afraid of the threat that the Dark Souls pose, Gwyn effectively sets humanity against itself. Undead are caught and shipped to the asylum to await the end of the world. So what happens when a member of the Church becomes an accursed undead? When this happens, it isn't seen as a curse. It couldn't be. How could such a thing happen to a member of the Church? No, becoming an undead Way of White member means you are blessed. It means you must devote yourself to a pilgrimage in service of the Way of White, something that gets you out of the Church, but still serves the Church's purpose. Undead clerics are given a quest for kindling, the art of feeding bonfires with humanity. Is there humanity hidden within the catacombs? Maybe, but it's much more likely that they are searching for a secret rite of kindling, a method of feeding bonfires with humanity that was stolen from an ally of Gwyn. And this brings us to Nito, who was rumored to hold the rite of kindling until it was stolen by Pinwheel. Nito is a strange entity. Unlike the other lords, he seems to only have one motive. Above all else, we see his desire to spread death. He doesn't concern himself with the politics of the outside world.
Such a cool boss, man.
Except for once, when he brought death to the undying. The everlasting dragons had their stone scales ripped apart by Gwyn, and Nito delivered the death blow.
Jeez.
But why did he do this? Well, disparity is in Nito's best interests, because if life exists, so too must death. After the successful alliance with Gwyn, Nito gained dominion over the dead and the catacombs, with a vast army of dead servants defending his tomb, and another army of Gravelord servants actively spreading death to others through the eyes of death. Nito seems content to wait in the darkest depths of the catacombs, slowly growing his army of the dead. Like all the other Lord Souls, his power is distributed among his servants. But is there nothing more to Nito? The first undead cleric was Leroy. He was given a glorified set of armor and the most powerful relics the church possessed. In a grand gesture, he was sent into the catacombs to retrieve kindling. You fight with him to kill Pinwheel, and the mission is successful. You retrieve the right from
You can
the
actually
catacombs,
summon
which
someone
was
to
stolen
help
from
you
Nito.
kill
But there's more.
Pinwheel.
Attempt to kill Nito, and Leroy will defend him.
Oh, we missed this.
Assume then that Nito is important to the Way of White.
Oh, that's
Perhaps
such
the
a
purpose
bad
of spreading
way to
death is what Gwyn wants. It makes sense. Spread death, and the undead have to burn humanity to feed the bonfires and keep themselves human. Feed the bonfires, and Gwyn's Age of Fire can last a little longer. The real tragedy here is the deceit. We are all in the dark. Humanity has no idea what caused the undead curse, but it's spreading. Entire lands are becoming infected with the mysterious dark sign, which keeps undead reliant on the bonfires, unable to die.
Damn.
No one knows where it originated, no one knows who created it, or if there is even a who behind it. All we do know is that you could be a regular human before you turned undead. You'd be unable to die, but unable to stop deteriorating, becoming more and more hollow with every death.
Damn.
Suddenly, you're a threat to those around you. The Way of White busies themselves with purging the undead from the world, but they don't know if the curse is a threat, they don't know how it came about, or if they're just being sent into the catacombs to die. And you're being led by serpents who tell you different things, encouraged to kill all of the lords in your path, regardless of whether they're in your way. Just so you can get enough souls to satiate the Lord Vessel, in the hope that killing Gwyn will give you answers. There are no answers, yet. At the core of everything is the curse.
The focus of the first game is humanity. The focus of the second is curse. Wow. Wow. That was cool, man. Wow, I barely said anything for that one, but I was really into it. I'm sorry. Nito was like one of those bosses that like in the first like initial cinematic, I was so excited to fight. All right, Nito comments. I just realized something. Doesn't it kind of look like Nito's back is covered in a cloak of humanity? ? Oh, it totally does. In other games, if you have the title of Lord of Death, you must be the main villain. But in Dark Souls, Nito is just there and neutral, waiting for people to die and chilling with his dead homies. When I barely knew anything about Dark Souls, I thought Nito was the final boss. He looks so final bossy. I agree, man. I don't know about you guys, but I think this video was fairly Nito. Puts on sunglasses. I've watched all these videos at least 3 times. Still no idea what the fuck is going on. I mean, there's just so much information, you know, and you're trying to remember what went down in your playthrough and kind of put all the pieces together, and it can be tough, but I'll probably watch these multiple times in my life, especially after we beat Dark Souls 2 and 3. Like, I definitely want to go back and just like, I don't know, indulge, man. This is really fun to me. All right, guys, now let's do the Legend of Artorias, the Abyss Walker. My favorite boss that we fought. I'm actually very excited to see this.
After the advent of fire, 3 powerful souls were claimed by those who came from the dark. The first was claimed by Nito, first of the dead. The second went to the witch who fell to the flame. And the last went to Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight. But there was a 4th soul, discovered afterward and hidden from the lords, the Dark Soul.
The Dark Soul.
And so, the first human was furtive, and kept his soul a secret. Lord Gwyn used his Lord Soul to usher in an age of fire and light, appointing 4 trusted knights to defend the realm. There was Dragonslayer Ornstein, Captain of the Guard.
So cool.
Hawkeye Goth, unmatched with a great bow.
So cool too.
Kiaran the Assassin,
Very
who
cool
laid
as well.
waste to Gwyn's enemies. And Artorias, the Abyss Walker. But in time, the flame began to fade. The age of the Lords was ending, and the dark age of men was to begin.
The 4 kings were powerful men, only their hearts were weak. When an evil serpent dangled the art of life drain before them, they were unable to resist and became pawns of evil.
The serpent in question was Darkstalker Karth, who tempted the kings with the ability to drain humanity as a reward for their service. This is the art of life drain. Karth's ultimate goal seems to be to return all humanity to the Abyss, as every fragment of humanity is a piece of the mighty Dark Soul. The Knights of New Londo were transformed into Dark Wraiths, beings that plagued the citizens of the city for humanity so that it may be returned to the Abyss.
The Dark Wraiths are the enemies of man, and any living thing that has a soul. They were born in New Londo, and that is where they perished. The entire city was sacrificed to contain them, for that is how great a threat they were.
Right.
As the first flame continues to fade, and with the darkness looming, the deities of Anor Londo begin to leave the doomed kingdom. Meanwhile, the Abyss breaks out again, this time in Ulasil. With time running out, Lord Gwyn's final command is for Artorias to halt the inevitable spread of the Abyss, and to rescue Princess Dusk. An old man afraid of the dark, Lord Gwyn kindles the first flame with his own soul, artificially extending his age of fire.
What?
And so, hundreds of years before the birth of the chosen undead, Knight Artorias and Sif meet the threat building in Ulasil. However, they do not succeed.
Knight Artorias came to stop this, but such a hero
So
has
cool,
merely
man.
a murmur of dark. Without doubt he will be swallowed by the Abyss, overcome by its utter blackness. Indeed, the Abyss may be unstoppable.
This may strike thine ear as somewhat peculiar, but long ago, in my homeland of Ulasil, I was beset.
Yo, what
by
kind
a
of sword is
creature
that?
From the Abyss.
It's like a
I would
lightsaber.
have perished then, were it not for the great knight Artorias. In truth, I saw little of what transpired, for mine senses were already fled. But even still, there was something about Artorias, a certain balance of the humors that quite perfectly fits your semblance. Heavens, could it be that?
So, 'tis thou who rescueth me.
Beset by the Abyss, the final act of Artorias was to protect his companion. He shielded Sif with the power of his great shield, for his arm was broken and he could no longer bear the burden.
Oh.
Soon after, the spread of the Abyss was halted and the deeds of a human were accredited to Artorias, the hero who gave his life to repel the Abyss. Within this glimpse of the Abyss lies a tormented soul, a savior turned demon, hidden from the eyes of his lord and comrades. As if only for his soul to find peace at long last, a warrior came, a hero of a time long distant yet near. The warrior fought against Artorias, severing his bonds with the darkness so that his honor may remain intact. living with the knowledge that his master saved him with his last uncorrupted breath, watching him become a husk, only capable of tormented screams. He keeps the Ring of Artorias, knowing that many will try to traverse the abyss, and defends his master's grave.
Oh, so sad.
Imagine what he is feeling when you come to him years later for the Abyss Walker ring that debilitated his friend. He is trying to protect you.
Oh, this is the cutscene that I didn't get.
Because Sif will not give you the Covenant of Artorias willingly. Maybe in death, he can find his friend Artorias again.
Oh, he's so sad. Don't tell me you still kill him after that. Oh, Sif. He's just trying to protect you. Fuck, I wish I got that sword, man. Damn, dude. That was such a cool cutscene. Oh. These videos are so well done, man. And like, this one was done 10 years ago, dude. 10 years ago. I was 14 years old. Damn. Artorias, the man who gave up his sanity to save his dog. Yeah, pretty much. The part I find sadder is that you find Kieran's ring on a skeleton behind Artorias' grave. Even in death, she wouldn't leave his side. Oh my god, that's right. When the Estus flask can't heal your feelings. The alternate start to the Sith fight is the saddest thing in this entire game. Yeah, honestly. Dark Souls prepared to die inside edition. I really like the theory I found somewhere that the Artorias, being the superior knight and swordmaster, felt that the abyss is getting to him. And knowing he will end up insane, he broke his own arm, so in future someone will have a chance to win a fight with him. I love that theory. That is so cool, man. Did you notice that Sif also fights with the sword on his left side, just like Artorias did before he was consumed by the... God damn it, the level of detail. Imagine fighting Artorias if both of his arms were still working. Yeah, I don't want to imagine that. Effing hell, Artorias could have a game all to himself with that kind of legend. That is so true. Alright, so moving on, guys. Let's do Siegmeyer of Katarina. I'm definitely saying that wrong. Siegmeyer? Siegmeyer? I don't remember how to say it.
The gate, the old fortress. Was that your doing? Venturing is my life. I'm prepared for the worst.
It's a great way to live. Prepare for the worst.
Have you seen my father? You wouldn't miss him. Tell him that Siegmund is on her way. Oh, so just stay put and
this one's gonna hurt,
man.
Perish, foul creatures! We can overcome this together. Our fates do seem entwined, don't they? Perhaps this, too, is the will of Lord Gwyn. You seem to help me at every turn. This Knight of Katarina expresses his deepest gratitude. Now I have no regrets. I shall depart for my final adventure. Wherever you go, may you be safe. You are a true hero, to be sure. Perhaps the time has come. I am Siegmeyer of Katarina, and you shall feel my wrath!
Jesus Christ. Damn. That felt like a 2005 action movie trailer.
When an undead loses all hope, they begin to hollow. Siegmeyer is an adventurer who prides himself on his bravery. His ability to progress and explore is what keeps him from hollowing. The name Siegmeyer means victory. Success is at the core of who he is.
Venturing is my life. I'm prepared for the worst.
With good intentions, the chosen undead saves Siegmeyer time and time again.
Holy graphics.
The man learns that he only has to wait for his problems to be solved. So, in helping Siegmeyer, you take everything from him. And an undead who loses everything becomes hollow.
Oh shit.
I've run flat up against a wall, or a gate, I should say. The thing just won't budge, no matter how long I wait. And oh, have I waited. This is quite a fix. We'll need another 3, no, maybe 5 bodies. Quite a fix indeed. By my knighthood, I'm ashamed to ask, but can you spare a few scraps of moss?
As you save Siegmeyer, you are draining his belief in himself. Every time you help him, he becomes more and more hollow. That is, until he decides to make a final stand. He sacrifices himself to repay his friend, but you take that victory from him.
Damn it.
Friend, I have an idea. A good one, really. I will rush those dire treatments and you can...
Who comes up with this shit, man?
Please, friend. I owe you much more than this. By the honor of the Knights of Katarina, allow me to assist you. And now, I go. Don't be slow.
Instead, I got so excited that I got to fight alongside him.
Come on! Over here, you fiends! Perish, foul creatures! I am Siegmeyer of Katarina, and you shall feel my wrath!
If you allow Siegmeyer to sacrifice himself while you escape, then he will die with his honor intact.
Damn it.
However, the only way for him to survive is if you shame him and save his life. Again.
But you, didn't you get away? Well, you saved me, once again. Oh, thank goodness. I'm exhausted.
Why is he not dying?
This is the last time you'll see Siegmeyer.
Why did he die for me? What the fuck? He literally got poisoned.
Oh, have you seen my father? You wouldn't miss him. A suit of armor just like mine.
Sieglind is the daughter of Siegmeyer. She risks the perils of Lordran to tell her father his wife's dying words.
My daughter risked life and limb just to find me, to deliver her mother's last words. And the poor girl's not even undead. Heavens. I never asked her to do that.
It would seem that Siegmeyer abandoned his daughter and wife for a life of adventuring.
What?
It is clear that Siegmeyer cares for his daughter and her for him, but something has happened in their past that led to them being kept apart.
Whoa.
After hearing his wife's dying words from the daughter who risked her life, he goes on his final, reckless adventure.
Wow.
Hollowing is a slow process, with the undead suffering many deaths before they hollow to a point of no return. The name Sieglind means gentle battle. I believe Sieglind has killed her father before, but only out of necessity.
If he goes hollow, I'll just have to kill him again.
Is this the music from Inception? I'm definitely gonna get a copyright. Fuck.
Siegmeyer hollows completely at the end of his adventure.
Whoa.
Yes,
I didn't get this.
now I see. You are one of the bad ones. Then there's only one thing to do with you.
What? That's so sad, man. Yeah, Hans Zimmer is literally playing right now, so I'm probably gonna mute it. I'll put some close to it. Actually, nothing can come close to Hans Zimmer.
Oh, how can this be, dear Father?
Heavens, my dear little Lynn.
Oh. Oh my god, man. I didn't get any of this. He just died friggin' poisoned.
And so, your friend, Siegmeyer, meets his end in Ash Lake.
And I gave him purple moss.
There is nothing you can do to stop it.
Wow.
My father, all hollow now, has been subdued. He will cause no more trouble. It's finally over. Dear Father. Dear Father.
Yo, who's chopping up onions, bro? What the fuck, man? We basically stole his will to live. God, man, these games. Alright, it's time to read some comments, man. If Sigurd and Sigurd. If Sigurd... Is Sigurd? It sounds like Squidward. If Sigurd and Siegmeyer are any representations of their country, then Katarina must be the most friendly place on the planet. Yeah. He's the biggest optimist in the entire series, and yet he has the most heartbreaking story. Siglin is clearly one of the most badass characters in the game. Despite the fact that you find her imprisoned by one of Seath's golems, she traveled from Katarina to Lordran and fought her way across the blighted landscape, despite not being undead. That means that, unlike you and Siegmeyer, she has only one life to lose, and I think despite her despair after putting her father to rest, she makes it home to Katarina again safely. Come on, you just know Sigurd is descended from her. I am Siegmeyer of Katarina, and you shall feel my wrath. Goosebumps every time. They say the road to hell is paved in good intentions. The story is the phrase incarnate. I will just have to kill him again. The sorrow in her voice is unbearable. The world of Dark Souls is cruel beyond sanity. It really is, man. I think there's only a couple more that I want to do here. We obviously have to do Gwyn, so we'll leave that one till the end. All right, next up, guys, let's do Lautrec the Embraced, the one we kicked off the map, basically.
Knight Lautrec looks out for himself. If we are to judge him, then we should count our own sins first. You who invades for humanity. You who kills simply because something is in your way, or because they have something important to you. Helm of Lautrec the Embraced, representing the goddess Fina's love. During his solitude, he forsook everything, for he believed in the goddess's love for him. Ring of Favor and Protection, granted by Fina, known in legend to possess fateful beauty. The ring breaks if ever removed. Armor of Lautrec the Embraced, representing the goddess Fina's love. The goddess's arms wrap around it, as if to embrace the wearer. The goddess Fina seems more sinister than you would expect from a goddess of love. She appears to a man who has forsaken everything, who will commit atrocities to serve. Her ring of protection breaks if you abandon her. The armor wraps its arms around you, clinging to the wearer. Is it a reminder of her love, or to remind you that you are hers? We know her love is faithful. If you're hers, you're well and truly a part of her design. Whatever goals she has are yours as well. So did Fina really love him deeply and personally? It's possible. Interactions between the gods and the humans are quite common. It's also possible that the man is simply within a religious delusion. We first encounter Knight Lautrec in a cell within the undead church. Why a church has a cell is a story in and of itself, as is the story of how Lautrec came to be trapped there. It could have something to do with the Firekeeper soul down below, or perhaps Oswald the Pardoner. Maybe both. For if anyone is drenched in sin, it's Lautrec, and his desire for more humanity is clear. Even Patches speaks of it. It comes as no surprise then that Lautrec sets his sight on a harmless Firekeeper. Firekeepers are corporeal manifestations of the bonfires they keep. Their souls are a draw for humanity offered to the bonfire, and as such their souls are gnawed by infinite humanity. It's clear that this isn't a fate that the Firekeeper enjoys, since she expresses that she wishes for the curse of the undead to be lifted so that she may die as a human. Her tongue was cut out so she could not complain, and her blood-stained skirt implies that she was maimed so that she may not escape. Yet, despite this, she expresses a desire to fulfill her fate as a Firekeeper. To a man who desires humanity, whether for his goddess or for himself, a Firekeeper soul is quite a prize.
Yep, that's why we got rid of him, guys.
Lautrec escapes with the Firekeeper soul. Whether he desires it for himself as a trophy or for his goddess is unclear. Yet you, and many other parallel undead, track him down and invade his world.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so we totally missed this.
Here we go again. How many times will these lambs rush to slaughter?
Seems like a lovely fight. Yeah, I'll add this to the second playthrough. Things to do differently.
Let's get it over with.
Oh, this music slaps. Is this from this fight? I don't think so. Oh, that was nice. Go, 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 go. Ooh!
This is the end of Knight Lautrec. Whatever his designs were, whatever the goddess wanted, it died with him. So, is it worth restoring the Firekeeper?
Ah, so this is how we get her to
the same temptations as Lautrec? Who wants to go hollow after all?
Whoa. Is that how we get her to speak? We bring back the soul, she comes back, and then she can talk? Damn it. I really wish I did that. Crap. Finishing the game feels good, but kicking Lautrec off the cliff on New Game Plus feels almost as good. Sorry, Lautrec, but I like the convenience of the Firelink Shrine bonfire. Yeah, it was a little obvious that he was gonna kill her, and you know we would have lost that bonfire. So I can see why other people are also on the side of kicking him off the edge. That fancy pants favor armor didn't help him much when I kicked him off the cliff in Firelink Shrine. I think it is kind of weird how the most sinister NPC in the game has armor that literally hugs him. He kind of sends mixed messages just by existing. Huh? Yeah, that's interesting. I fought him at Firelink Shrine. My opening move was to belt him in the face. His response was to backflip off a ledge to a screaming doom. I'm a simple man. I see a note telling me to try kicking. I try kicking. Let's do the Heroes of Firelink Shrine.
What turns an undead into a hollow? Is it the passing centuries in a never-ending life? The experience of dying hundreds of times?
Just editing.
Or is it those things, coupled with the loss of hope? Firelink is often the last place the heroes visit before they hollow. It's the gateway to many dangerous places. Most undead in Lordrun have a purpose that they strive towards before hollowing. However, there is one who is content to wait until his sanity slips away. The apathy of this man is kept within Firelink Shrine, where he simply watches. Heroes come and go, some never return, and he remains. At least nothing will bother him once he goes hollow.
Oi, did you see him? Big Hat Logan, the legendary sorcerer, in the flesh. This place is simply mad. Legendary heroes popping up left and right. They're making me feel quite inadequate, to be honest. Oh, have you seen that terribly morose lass, the Firekeeper? She's stuck keeping that bonfire lit. Sad, really. She's mute and bound to this forsaken place. How did that silly sorcerer's apprentice end up? You know, the one always prattling on about Master Logan. He left for the Undead Burg, but never came back. Serves him right. If even old Big Hat can't make it out there, what chance does he have? I hope he enjoys his new life as a hollow.
Oh shit, we didn't fight that guy.
How did that raggedy old chum end up? You know, the one who idolized some godmother of pyromancy. He left for Blighttown.
Yeah, we fought him.
But never came back.
Very sad.
Did you hear about the maiden? The virtuous
maiden?
lass came back alone, and in absolute tatters. Did her followers die, or was she abandoned? Who knows? But I suppose we've heard the last from Milady.
She's making no damage.
Did you ring the second bell? That is incredible, I must say. But now we have a new problem. It's noisy, it snores, and its breath is lethal, and I was really beginning to like it here. Maybe it's time I do something about it.
That was about Frank, right? Yeah. He tried to kill Frank?
Well, what are you going to do? I've already decided. I don't really care.
Oh.
I'm simply crestfallen.
So sad. But we whooped his ass. Ah, that was it? Crap. Damn, man. I'm loving these old school end screens. When I saw him hollowed, I parried him and said aloud, well, that's just embarrassing. How'd you let me do that to you? Oh god, I just realized the undead keep themselves from going hollow by finding a goal and working towards it. As long as they have something to strive for, they don't go hollow. His goal was apathy. He was keeping himself from going hollow by sitting there and poking fun at everyone. Content in the knowledge that no one would ever actually be the chosen undead, and he could lead a simple, peaceful life at Firelink Shrine. And then you come along, ring the bells, and take that away from him. Oh my god. I never told Laurentius where I got the Chaos Pyromancy, so that way he wouldn't go hollow. Yeah, I wish I didn't tell him either. I was really beginning to like the Crestfallen Warrior, but then the fuckboy goes hollow. It really is sad to see all your companions in the Firelink Shrine go hollow one at a time. Yeah, that was pretty painful. I'm not gonna lie. Black Iron Tarkus. Who's Black Iron Tarkus? We haven't done that one. What is this? Oh, the Black Iron. Oh, right. I remember this guy.
We all remember the help Tarkus gave us that day. Tarkus was like us, someone trying to make it through the world to uncover the truth. The least we can do is follow in his footsteps and succeed where he failed. The Knights of Berenik are known for their heavy armor and weaponry. There is no nation that is physically stronger, but even among them there was Tarkus, a knight renowned for having strength great enough to sport a set of heavy black iron.
Oh, he was the one we could have summoned, right? Not the actual
Berenik was a land outside of Lordran, but it was not free from the curse of the undead. As the curse spread and society crumbled, countless knights became undead. But the knights had not lost their sanity yet. Throughout the neighbouring lands a prophecy was spreading, an old saying from Astora that said this:
Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know.
The fate of the undead. With nothing else to go on, the undead Knights of Berenik ventured to Lordran, which was told to be at the heart of the undead curse. They were right.
Such sick armor.
The gods were partly responsible for the crumbling world. The light in Anor Londo is an illusion, and many gods have already abandoned the world of men. For the real light, the first flame, was fading. There was one path into Anor Londo, and that was through Sen's fortress. So the Knights of Berenik threw themselves at the deadly castle, trying to force their way through. And they were not the only ones. Within Sen's fortress we see the hollowed forms of both Knights of Berenik and Boulder, two nations that attempted to reach the land of the gods, desperate to discover the fate of the undead.
Damn.
Near the top of Sen's fortress there is an undead man who desperately tries to retain his sanity.
Right. Counts. Counts. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, this confused the hell out of me.
5, 6, 7. Count.
He has seen all the heroes pass through Sen's fortress, never to return.
For a century they've tried and failed. The Night King Rendell, Black Iron Tarkus, and even Logan himself. You won't stand a chance, you'll be eaten alive. But go along if you wish, if only to deepen your despair.
They all failed. Every Knight of Berenik, every Boulder Knight, the Night King Rendell and Logan himself. Every one of them failed.
Damn.
Except Tarkus. Tarkus conquers the fortress, leaving his hollowed brothers behind. He carves his summoning sign at the top of Sen's fortress, so his spirit will be able to aid anyone else who comes as far as he does. Time is convoluted in Lordran, and even if Tarkus is already dead, his spirit will remain to aid those who need help with the final step,
cool.
Even if those heroes exist in another dimension. For guarding the final step to Anor Londo is the Iron Golem. It is said that the soul of this construct was originally the bone of an everlasting dragon, and it has slain countless heroes seeking Anor Londo. For the sake of all those who came before him, Tarkus prevails. He becomes the first one to make it to Anor Londo.
Oh shit.
But the tragedy begins here, for when Tarkus arrives at Anor Londo he finds the path retracted before him. He must break into the palace by the only path available. Up a narrow ledge, through a window, and across the ceiling rafters protected by painting guardians. This operation runs counter to his skills. Encumbered by his armor and huge weaponry, Tarkus falls to his death on the rafters, and is dragged into a corner by the painting guardians.
Oh shit, that makes sense!
Because now the path is clear and Tarkus helped you there. For the sake of the fallen, we carry on.
Right. What the oh my god, that one was so good, dude. I was not expecting that connection. I totally forgot that, yeah, we get his armor from the corner. He was just there. But he just fell to his death like that? That's so unfortunate. Tarkus didn't fall from the rafters and died. He jumped and invaded hell. Conquers a whole fortress of traps and takes down a massive iron golem. Falls off a roof and dies. That is so sad, man. Those poor demons who carry you from the Sense Fortress to Enerlanda must be cursing themselves when they carry Tarkus for how much he weighs. Never thought about how Tarkus broke the glass. Yeah, that's so true. That window was just broken. There's so much detail in these games, man. It's so good. All right, guys. So next up, let's do the Sisters of Chaos, and then we'll do Gwyn, and then we'll wrap it up there because I've been going for quite a while, man. But the only one that I am kind of interested in, to be honest, is like which ending is the good ending. But I don't really want to spoil the second ending. But I feel like we might have to like search it up in order to get it done. But we can leave that one for later. Yeah, all the ones that I missed, we can honestly do like on a live stream when we start doing those. But right now, let's do the Sisters of Chaos.
In the beginning, there was nothing, so the world was grey and lifeless. But then there was the first flame, which brought warmth, life, and light. But these things cannot exist alone, so there was also disparity, cold, death, and dark. Humans were born from the dark, but we are drawn towards the light. We are warmed by fire, but this fire we cannot touch. For those whose fascination with fire persists, learn to hold it in their own hand. Pyromancy is born from this adoration of fire, but you must remember one thing.
Always fear the flame, lest you be devoured by it and lose yourself. I would hate to see that happen again.
Whoa.
It is the nature of fire to fade until only dark remains. But what if another flame was born? It could be a replica of the first to ward off the darkness. The Witch of Izalith was one of Lord Gwyn's last hopes. If she could replicate the first flame, then the god's power would never fade. It would have been better if she had never tried.
I have a favour to ask. My mother, the Witch of Izalith, was one of the primeval lords. Her power came from the soul that she found near the first flame.
Best boss
She
of all
focused
time.
this power to light a flame of her own. But she failed to control it. The flame of chaos engulfed Mother and my sisters and molded them into deformed creatures.
Jeez.
Below us lies the ruins of the legendary city of Izalith. There, the molten giant watches over the flame of chaos. Our fair lady and Mistress Quelag fled from the ruins.
It's Quelag?
I do not
It was
know
Quelag.
the details, and I do not ask.
When the Witch of Izalith attempted to create the first flame, something went wrong. She created a bed of life which would become the source of all demons. There were originally 7 daughters of chaos. The witch and 2 sisters were bound to the bed of chaos. The witch is trapped inside, and her 2 sisters became the orbs beside her.
Oh, shit.
Quelag and the Fair Lady were bound to giant spiders. One sister was corrupted and guards her mother. Another sister was sacrificed and is watched by her brother, who became a being of ceaseless discharge.
Oh, snap.
Only Quelana remains.
And now I am here. But my mother and sisters have been in anguish since.
Whoa.
I beseech you, free Mother and my sisters from the flame of chaos. I cannot do it myself. I lack the strength and the bravery. But you, I realize what I am asking. But please, free their poor souls.
Quelag, a deformed daughter of Izalith. She escaped with her sister, and they fashioned a home at the base of Blighttown. The denizens of Blighttown were chosen as servants and food. But the Fair Lady felt for the suffering of her disfigured followers and sucked out their blight pus. She poisoned herself.
I am so sorry, dear sister.
And so, the Fair Lady started to die. But at least she has her sister Quelag.
But promise me that you will take care of yourself.
Disgusting.
Quelag kills everyone who enters her lair to gather the humanity that heals her dying sister.
Whoa.
That is, until she is killed by the chosen undead. So, who will take care of her now that her sister is gone?
Quelag, Please, sister, do not cry. I am happy, really. I have you. Don't I?
Jesus Christ.
Darkwraith Kirk, Knight of Thorns, has tricked Darkstalker Karth out of a red eye orb. He invades worlds to steal humanity, to heal the Fair Lady,
sick armor.
rather than give them to Karth. His actions reveal that not all Darkwraiths are evil. However, he is ultimately killed by the chosen undead, as his intentions are not understood until his corpse is found in the Fair Lady's company. Time in Lordran is convoluted. One undead may replace Quellarg out of guilt. Another may choose to put the Fair Lady out of her misery.
Yeah, I would. Sad.
Queen, but why?
Damn, bro.
Why, you monster! The Fair Lady! What have you done? What have you done? Ah!
Yo, these games are so fucking sad. Man, it's not until you like watch these to like you realize how depressing they are, man. In like a really cool way though. Like I appreciate the art, you know. I joined her covenant out of guilt and I was awarded with the life of Solair. Thank you, Fair Lady. That is really nice, actually. It's actually that dude at the end screaming, what have you done? That gets me. You can really tell he's in pain, that you've done something horrible. Yeah. Ceaseless discharge. Sounds like me on a Friday night. All right, guys. Last but definitely not least, let's do Gwyn and then we'll wrap it up there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little lore and chill episode. If you haven't already, make sure to smash that like button. Helps the channel out a lot. And yeah, let's do this. Let's wrap it up. Gwyn, the First Flame, Part 1.
If there's one thing to remember, it's this. Fire fades, and it's inevitable and natural for the world to return to dark. The future is dark, but it was not always this way. Let's go back to where there was a flame. The hero has made it to the kiln, where the first flame was found, thrived, faded, and was kindled again.
Right.
The hero descends to kill the god who kindled that flame. This god is a shell now, a husk. He's lost his kingdom, his knights, his wife, children, and friends.
Jesus.
But even with nothing left, he sacrificed himself to keep the dark at bay. This is the story of a man who fought against the inevitable. In the beginning, there were two planes of existence. There was the above and the below. Above was grey, with dragons who had existed forever. Nothing changed, nothing progressed, and nothing lived or died. I think of the below as dark, although it probably was nothing of the sort. How can darkness exist without light? But that was about to change, because when the flame came, it created disparity. Now there was light and dark, and the light illuminated the creatures who were hiding. These creatures emerged to inspect the flame, and these were the ones who would become known as giants. For within the flame was great power, and 4 giants claimed this power. They claimed it, and it shaped them. Nito came to embody death. The Witch of Izalith represented life. Lord Gwyn stood for the light, and the pygmy kept his dark soul a secret. Gwyn decreed that the flame was more powerful than the grey existence up above, and the giants declared war on the dragons to claim the surface. Alas, the dragons were immortal, and many knights of Gwyn fell, but there was one dragon who betrayed his own. Seath the Scaleless, born without the stone scales of immortality, told the dragon's weakness to Gwyn. The stone scales were the secret to their immortality, and the lightning was their weakness. So Gwyn and his knights fashioned bolts of lightning to peel apart their stone scales. Nito unleashed disease on their exposed flesh, and the Witch of Izalith and her followers used fire sorceries to burn their homes, the arch trees, to ash. And the dragons were no more. And so, the Age of Fire was born, and the giants began their own story. But since this is a story about light, it is also a story about dark. For it is inevitable that one day the flame will fade, and only dark will remain. Seath was granted 3 rewards. He received a piece of Gwyn's Lord Soul, a dukedom in Gwyn's kingdom, and his own research facility to discover immortality, something he never would have had with the dragons around. The Age of Fire had changed the shape of the world. Gwyn's kingdom grew during the Age of Fire, and the lands outside assumedly looked to Lordran as their capital city. Anor Londo was built close to the sun, and eventually smaller towns and cities grew to surround it. The giants became the royalty and the gods, and humanity spread, worshipping those more powerful than them. Gwyn himself had a wife whose name is not known, and by her he had 3 children. His firstborn was the god of war, who formed the Warriors of Sunlight. However, he lost the Annals, which were historical records. Gwyn decreed that his son would share the same fate, and all record of the firstborn was stripped from the land. Gwyn's second-born, Guinevere, was well loved, with her own statues and covenant the princess guard.
Guinevere.
The third of birth was Gwyndolin, who was born frail and deformed. He was raised as a daughter since he was proficient at moonlight magic, which is considered
He
a
was
female
raised as a
trait.
daughter?
His existence was hidden, and his covenant, the Blade of the Dark Moons, hunt down sinners and protect the illusion of power in Anor Londo. For hundreds of years the Lords prospered, but everything ends. Locked away in his archives, Seath is desperately searching for the secret to immortality. The Six-Eyed Channelers read for him and search the world for test subjects. These test subjects are locked away in crystal golems for transportation back to the archives, where they become the subject of his experiments.
Oh, that's cool.
At the base of the prison, there are Berserkers, twisted monsters created from captured maidens. If you listen carefully, you can hear them crying.
Yep.
At some point, the knowledge in the archives sends Seath mad. It's impossible to know whether he was insane before or after his experiments on the maidens, but one way or another, Gwyn turns a blind eye to the happenings in the archives.
Damn.
Perhaps it was this that led to the rebellion against the gods. In the war against the dragons, Lord Gwyn had a friend and compatriot named Havel the Rock, who was the sworn enemy of magic and Seath the Scaleless. After the war, Gwyn granted Seath dukedom and a part of his own soul. Perhaps Havel was bitter at Gwyn's preference for Seath, since he started to collect items capable of killing the gods. Hidden in his basement in Anor Londo, there is an occult club. Items of the occult can kill the gods and are rightly feared. Havel was also a bishop of the church, who knew the whereabouts of the Dark Ember. Lastly, the effigy shield states that there was once an ill-fated plot to destroy the gods. Ill-fated because the attempt failed. Among the royalty, there are rumours of a hero locked away in a stone cell by a dear friend. They say he was locked away for his own good, which led many to believe that the man inside had gone hollow.
Ah, damn.
Havel helped Gwyn win his throne, but met with the fate of the undead and was kept in a cell so he could not harm others. That's what they would have you believe. But what if Gwyn learnt of Havel's plan to kill the gods? Perhaps Havel was not hollow when he was locked away. Perhaps he was locked away for the good of the realm, and left to hollow in the middle of an area overrun by hollows. Gwyn would have locked his friend away for the greater good, but was it the right thing to do? This marks the peak of the Age of Fire, and the darkness is looming. Soon Gwyn will need all the friends he can get.
Why haven't they turned these into, like, movies? Tell me you wouldn't watch. I mean, obviously you guys would, but oh my god, these stories are so well written and thought out. Like, it boggles, man. And then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. W reference. Armed with stone armor and a dragon tooth, cannot break wooden door. That is very, very, very true, man. Sometimes I listen to this playlist to help me sleep at night. Jesus Christ. Bro. Are you okay?
Soon, I will be consumed by them, by the dark.
The dark is in every human.
Thou art strong, human. Surely thine kind are more than pure dark.
But do humans have light and dark within them? Even in his last moments, Artorias thought so.
I beg of the spread of the abyss. It must be stopped.
The furtive pygmy was the first human. It claimed the dark soul and waited for the fire to subside. For while the other souls grew weaker, the dark soul grew stronger. The Lord Souls of light and dark seemed to be in counterbalance to one another. While Gwyn fathered the Age of Fire and set up his kingdom, the pygmy shattered the dark soul and fathered humanity. This mysterious black sprite was the powerful life force of humans, driving them to love, hate, create, and destroy. The most pure-hearted humans were able to create more humanity within themselves. The Dark Soul is unique in that it can grow and spread through humans. By the time the furtive pygmy was killed, it was already too late. The Dark Soul had already been split, and it continued to split and grow like a disease.
Oh, these are humanities!
And as the darkness grew, the flames did fade, and Gwyn's kingdom began to fall. With the fading flame came the rising dark, and those who would see it grow stronger. The dragons and the giants were not the only things in the Age of Ancients. From the stone dragons came drakes, hydras, and primordial serpents. You have to wonder at how much influence the serpents have had, because all throughout the ages, the serpents have always achieved their desires at the expense of others. We know of one serpent, Karth,
This is
who
the
hides
one
in
we
the shadows
missed.
to see the shadows grow. It was the manipulations of such a serpent that led to an upturned grave, and the doom of Ulasil.
Believe it or not, Ulasil has brought the abyss upon itself, fooled by that toothy serpent. They upturned the grave of primeval man, and incited his ornery wrath. What could they have been thinking?
Manus, the father of the abyss, primeval human and once the furtive pygmy, unleashed the wrath of the dark upon Ulasil, corrupting and transforming its denizens into monsters.
Knight Artorias came to stop this, but such a hero has nary a murmur of dark. Without doubt he will be swallowed by the abyss, overcome by its utter blackness. Indeed, the abyss may be unstoppable.
So obvious that his arm is broken. I don't know how I missed that.
From a time distant yet near killed the primeval human in his name and ended its rampage. But Karth simply moved on to his next target. Gwyn split his own soul and handed it to the four kings who ruled over New Londo. It was a reward for their foresight, but the kings only wanted more power.
Long ago, the four kings were powerful men. Only their hearts were weak. When an evil serpent dangled the art of life drain before them, they were unable to resist and became pawns of evil.
Gwyn had already seen what happened in Ulasil. The spread of the abyss had to be contained wherever it was found. He flooded New Londo in an attempt to seal the darkness and the kings. It was around this time that the other gods started to panic. The goddesses Fina and Velka had already been forcibly exiled by Seath, and Gwyn's own daughter Guinevere was to follow. She fled with the flame god, Flan, and abandoned her father. Meanwhile, the Witch of Izalith was working on a plan. She was attempting to duplicate the first flame using her own magic and her Lord Soul. Perhaps this could fight off the gathering dark. But this plan did not work. In fact, it backfired, engulfing the witch, her sisters, and the city of Izalith. Her soul of life became twisted, creating malformed, demonic, chaotic life. And the world saw its first demons. The Silver Knights of Gwyn still remained from the war against the dragons, and they were ordered to fight against the Chaos Demons.
Such a good shot.
Despite the bravery of the knights, they were repelled by the bed of chaos. The Silver Knights retreated to Gwyn with armor blackened and charred from their journey to Izalith. They had failed. Gwyn's downfall is absolute. He's lost his kingdom, his knights, his wife, children, and friends. For the stronger the light, the thicker the shadows fall. There are no happy endings in Lordran. Even if you do no wrong, tragedy finds you. Maybe you're searching for the light in a dark place. Maybe you're fighting to keep your sister alive. Whether you're adventuring for the sake of adventure, or risking your life for your lord, it will do no good. But despite futility, we do these things anyway. By fighting against the inevitable, we carve meaning from meaninglessness. Gwyn travels to the kiln with his remaining knights, and sacrifices himself as fuel for the first flame, just so it can burn a little longer for the living. The dark will eventually overcome the fading flame, but not without a fight.
The curse of the undead originates when Gwyn links the flame, granting some humans eternal life until they lose their humanity. The black armor of the Silver Knights becomes warped and twisted by the force of the rekindled flame, and they develop horns and a demonic appearance. Their disembodied spirits remain inside the armor. The chosen undead awakens in his cell many years later, but he will fight against the dark or accept it as the age of men. Despite futility, we fight against the inevitable. We carve meaning from meaningless. That was deep, man. As always, VodiVidya has completely given me a new perspective on these games, how much detail goes into them, how deep these character stories go, and just how epic these stories are. And that is why I enjoy Lore and Chill so much. I hope you guys enjoy this episode, guys. Man, I appreciate you guys for being here. The PC is coming soon. That's why I'm not really at my usual setup. The setup, I'll explain more in the setup update. It's kind of not really been working out for me. I'm having some heavy technical difficulties, hence why I bought everything that I needed for the PC. I kind of just said, screw it, I'm getting it. And yeah, Dark Souls 2 coming very soon. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to leave a like on your way out. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.